KBLA.store for the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more. Log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounce is back.
Go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's not your birthday. You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Mama, I got what you need if you need to fill the bars. I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug, if you're into getting rough. You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Mama, I got what you need if you need to fill the bars. I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug, if you're into getting rough. When I pull up out front, you see the Benz on dub. When I roll 20 deep, so it's drama in the club. Now that I roll with Dre, everybody show me love. When you sell like them and them, you get plenty of groupie love. But homie, ain't nothing changed.
You are locked in to hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We had to let that 50 Cent ride. I can't believe this is even a question, but we're going to talk about it. I really cannot believe this is even a question. But, you know, we like to bring in elements of social media conversation here because it is reflective of at least what some of the general population is discussing, right? So there was a huge debate on social media. It actually went on for a couple of days. There's a girl who is a DJ. She said that she was 30 and she is based out of Delaware. And I'm not really sure what made her bring this up. Maybe it's because 50 is wrapping up the final lap tour, which is supposed to be the last time that he performs in front of an audience as far as rapping goes, that he's, you know, hanging up his well, at least the touring aspect of performing, and is going to be fully focused on, you know, his burgeoning. Well, can you even call it burgeoning at this point? What? Power came on the air in 2014. We're almost 10 years in at this point. It's a whole universe. So I guess he's going to concentrate more on that and his, you know, productions and so forth, and leave the rap thing behind, at least for now, so he says. But again, there was a big conversation on social media because this particular DJ was like, I've never heard In the Club actually played in the club, and that women never don't like that song. She didn't know any woman that liked In the Club and was trying to hear it in the club or party to it. So this really sparked a lot of debate. One of the comments that I heard right off the bat was, this guy is on a 64-city tour selling out all the dates, and you believe that nobody was listening to In the Club? In the Club? Beyond that, I find it ludicrous that someone that was 10 when the song came out really believes that they have an adequate idea of what was going on in the club at that time period and how people felt. And I wonder what it is about social media and this era, because everything is at our fingertips. When I was a kid, when I wanted to research something, I had to go to the library, understand the card catalog system. I'm making myself sound real old. It wasn't that long ago. But you had to go to the physical library. You had encyclopedias. The internet didn't start loading up all these areas where you could research things, until about 2000, really? I remember AOL dial-up. It was slow. It would take like an hour to download one picture. Now we're doing doom scroll. So I guess my point is, what would possess you to come out and say that 50 Cent In the Club is not in the club music? And then argue people back when they say, hey, you weren't there. So then she went on to say, well, it would never be played in one of my sets now. Okay, cool. We get it. You're 30 and your age group that you're rocking with, they may not be familiar with it. And that's fair. But to take the stance that it was never a club hit, and she doubled down. Like the next morning she came back and said that even if it was commercially successful, that doesn't mean that it was really successful in the streets. And of course, there are some songs like that. There are some songs that I could name that I really don't know who was listening to it. Somebody can't was, obviously, but you question if the culture was involved. But the way that 50 Cent hit when he came out, just the video, I mean, we just saw it 2 years ago at the Super Bowl, him recreating that moment from the video. If this wasn't a song that was super hitting everywhere, they wouldn't have recreated that moment, because nobody would have got it. It wouldn't have made sense, right? Right. So I just want to know what it is about this generation that everything is at your fingertips, and you won't take that one extra step just to find out if it's true or not, if it makes sense, if it is actually valid, especially with something like music or something in culture. Of course, there are subjective aspects to it, but come on, man. Andy.
This was a female DJ, correct?
Yes. And I totally disagree with her. 50s, when In the Club came on, everybody got up and rushed to the dance floor. And also, Don't Let You Have a Birthday. How many years did in the club Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday go up for everybody's birthday? Probably till Jocelyn.
I definitely still do that. I will say this. I'm gonna look at it from a different angle. She's a great businesswoman.
Oh, okay. You think that it was just now that is a very fair point, because Twitter does pay, but some people were saying that as soon as they started that, all of a sudden it's not really going through, because Elon is the king of takesy backsies and changing things up. So, but you have a great point. That is a great, saying something negative is going to get you far more engagement, far more eyes, far more responses, far more, let me get my lick in so I could be popular too in the moment and pile on, than another way. So that is a very good point, Andy, and I did not consider that.
Absolutely.
Forensic Accountant says, I've never had an appreciation for 50 Cent. The golden age spoiled me severely. I think that's interesting. He said, I prefer Luke's It's Your Birthday. I mean, but that's booty music. That's, Miami bass music. That's and it still rocks out at a birthday party. Let me tell you something. You could play that into 50s Go Shorty, into Jocelyn's Do It Like It's My B-Day. Any of it. We're celebrating. It's a party. Pardon me?
Trap Beckham.
What's that?
One time for the birthday.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. 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 Yeah. I definitely have dropped it low to that before, or dropped it for somebody, meaning my home girl. Let me back up and clear it up. We celebrate.
Come
It's
on,
a birthday.
Jill, we grown up in here.
We are, but and I'm saying that's about it. Celebrating with the girls in the club. That's about all. However, I just think I will consider that maybe she was just trying to promote herself, and she can't really believe that.
Because I think, quite frankly, like even me, I'd be curious to see what her set is. I'd be curious to maybe go to one of her, parties or whatever, just to see what type of music she does,
It actually started from a DJ that is from here in LA, very popular DJ Artistic. He posted a video of, basically celebrating 50 Cent's anniversary. He always posts these sets where he does either the year or an artist or something and plays tribute. Dope DJ, really dope DJ to hear in a party. Again, right here from South Central LA, went to FAMU, so has those ties. And, he's one of Issa Rae's favorite DJs. But that's how the conversation got started. And I thought it was a healthy conversation about hip hop, but also illustrates kind of the differences of where we're at. Because, again, a 64 city tour off of a 20-year-old album, you shouldn't have no questions. Right? You really should not have any questions about that.
And, for her, just like you said, I don't know when she was born, but it didn't impact her. She wasn't around to
93. She would have been 93.
She was born in 93. So, 2003, she was 10. She probably didn't really understand the gravitas and the depths
of what it meant. And I feel that I totally rock with that. But just to say with conviction, nah.
That's social media for you.
It is social media. When we come forward, we will get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk a little bit about Tiffany Haddish's behavior at the VMAs, fair or foul? Should we be concerned? Is it just her being her? We're going to get into that. We are also going to get into a little bit about tipping and the tipping fatigue that seems to have encompassed the nation since the pandemic. And of course, we're trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like Biz Camp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talents, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, I don't know if you saw this earlier in the week, but Ice Spice and Ben Affleck have joined together for a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, and the Ice Spice Munchkin coffee drink has been announced. And it's like, it's a serious drink. Like, it is comprised of like, obviously coffee, but I think they put like 2 donut holes in it and whipped cream. Like, it's crazy. And they have a commercial for it. It has like frozen coffee with pumpkin flavored munchkin donut holes, whipped cream, a caramel drizzle. But let's talk about how many calories that is, how much sugar is in it, right? So I saw this guy do a TikTok, and he demonstrated how many grams of sugar are in like a large one of these. It's about, I think they said close to 100 grams of sugar. You are not supposed to have 100 grams of sugar in one sitting. Like, are they trying to kill us? They're trying to take us out. Not like that. I I think it's fun. I'm all for the brand deals, but 100 grams of sugar in one drink.
Look, man, people are going to 7-Eleven getting super big gulps for 99 cents. Same situation.
I mean, that is true, but golly.
People go to Starbucks every day.
True.
Grab them a caramel macchiato with whipped cream with the caramel drizzle. Same thing.
You know, there are the little pieces that are floating in the coffee. Obviously, here's the thing. I don't know if I would want to chew donut with frozen coffee. Like, I get how they go together. I get eating them together. But it's liquidy because it's not supposed to be kind of solid in that way, but it is creamy. I don't know. That just seems like your tummy would be hurting. And that just seems like that is a bad, bad night for the stomach and your arteries.
And see, my mind went somewhere different. When you mentioned 2 donut holes, cream, ice spice, munch.
Wow. Okay. You know what?
Put a couple things together.
You can put a lot of things together with that, and none of them are appropriate for the hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe. Maybe hour 3, we could get into that, and we could run the jokes there. But hour 2, we like to keep it proper, like, because, well, I'm a lady. All right. So, geez, I just lied to Andy. You threw me with that. I was like, what? That's funny. Okay, 2 stories that I mentioned that I didn't discuss, but I really want to talk about. Do you fly a lot? Are you a platinum member? Do you use the airport lounges? Well, if you do and you were a part of the Delta Sky Miles program, changes are on the way for you. They are changing what the requirements are to gain entry into the Sky Club and how your elite frequent flyer points are accumulated. They have flipped the whole thing. So instead of the current practice of unlimited visits, beginning February 1st, if you have the American Express Platinum card and Platinum business card holders of American Express, they get 6 visits a year. That's it. Unless they spend $75,000 in one calendar year on the card. Business card holders will get 10 Sky Club visits a year. And if they have to spend a minimum of $75,000 on their card as well. So if you had the Delta Sky Miles Platinum and Platinum business cards, you don't get club access anymore. You have to buy a club membership, and if they do, you have to get to elite status in order for them to pick that as a perk. So remember, a yearly membership to Delta Sky Lounges is $700, right? The restrictions are going to start beginning January 1st. And they're also saying if you book a basic economy ticket, you can't get into the Delta Lounges, regardless of if you have a platinum card or any premium credit card. And supposedly it's because the airline has struggled to handle overcrowding at their popular lounges, especially in big airports like JFK and Atlanta. But I mean, dang, if you have a platinum card and the whole point in paying for the platinum card membership with Amex is to get the airline perks, to get the travel perks that come along with their card. Obviously not just Delta, there are other things, but those are some of the perks of paying that $700 yearly hit to Amex for it. And now if you buy a coach ticket, you can't get into the lounge. How unfair is that? Now I'm going to tell you, I am not a lounge user, probably because I am always not last minute getting to the airport, but I'm not going to be there an hour or 2 hours waiting for the plane. I can't do it. I do not have that type of patience. I mean, I could. I just do not like to. And plus, here's the thing too. I live fairly close to the airport. So it's not like it's going to take someone or take me a lot of time to get there. Back in the day, I would drive myself to the airport and park at the airport if I was going for a short trip, because I was like, to pay, well, this was probably, yeah, this was before Uber, to pay for a cab there and back or one of the shuttles would be equal to the amount that it pays to park there. So get there, roll through, roll in, and, be on your way. However, I will say that when I flew internationally, that's when it really comes in handy. If you're, overseas, or you're hitting one of those long flights, then you want to like go hit up the club. I mean, they got showers in there. I've never taken a shower at the airport because that kind of freaks me out. But I like the idea that if I needed to, there is an outlet for me to utilize. So that type of stuff is important to me. That's a perk. But so if you are a member of one of these things, will you continue to pay for the card, knowing that if you're just buying a basic coach ticket, you're not going to be allowed in? Is that something that, are the airport lounges particularly important to you? Is it something you care about? I can give you the breakout of the new, what do they call, qualifying dollars and qualifying segments. So in order to be a silver medallion holder, which is obviously the lowest tier they have, $6,000, and they're taking away the qualifying segments. I was always confused what that meant. Like, one deals with miles, one deals with dollars, but they're taking away the segment portion of it. Gold is 12,000, platinum is 18,000, and diamond medallion 35,000. So, are you still traveling for business like that? Are you traveling for pleasure? Obviously, since the pandemic, experiences has been one of the areas that have picked up, even though our pockets are being squeezed right now. We're not technically in a recession, but, And that is a perfect segue into the next story. So, suffice it to say, are you going to keep your Delta Miles card for the lounges with all of these extra base things if you already had one? Do you think the perk is worthwhile? We'll have to see, because there's already been a lot of social media pushback. We'll see what the thought process is. I guess they feel like their biggest clients, the ones that spend the most money, won't be impacted too much, so they're not worried about it. We'll see. At any rate, I told you that this was connected to our next story. And the reason why it's connected is because it kind of deals with where we are right now as far as finances and inflation and all of that. So, according to a survey, many cash-strapped consumers, that's us, are burnt out on tipping. Tip fatigue is real right now. It is big, and experts are saying that 2/3 of Americans have a negative view of tipping right now. And the 20% tip at restaurants is still the standard in the U.S., right, according to most etiquette experts. But they said that a lot of diners disagree. After being the standard for many, many years, it started dropping. It didn't drop by that much. It dropped to 19.4% in the second quarter of 2023. They took a poll through an online restaurant platform called Toast, if you want to see more about the study. But basically, they said that during COVID, everyone was feeling really, really generous, and they were tipping it up. I mean, that might have been the PPP thing, might have been, some of those scams, but people were, free with money. The money was flying, and people were hitting those tips, because everywhere you go now, especially if they have an iPad with those digital setups, even if things that you didn't traditionally tip for now are asking you if you want to tip, right? And so what they are referring to it as is the tip creep. And basically, with more opportunities to tip and predetermined point of sale options that offer you between 15 and 35% per transaction, gratuity became less about rewarding good service and more about a requirement. And consumers are now pushing back because of inflation, surcharges, all of that. People are tired. They are tired of seeing it. They don't want to deal with it. They said that all of the fees that are coming up, there's an increase in surcharges. We know. We've all seen them. There are fees for restaurant employees. You see lines for health insurance, credit card transactions. They're saying some restaurants even charge people for tap water. And so people are tired and they want answers, and they're given a little less. Andy, what are your thoughts?
We should get rid of tipping, period. Get rid of it.
And just have a wage?
I've never been a fan of tipping. People would always say, oh, well, you know, the waiters don't make enough. Well,
pay them what they should make.
Well, I don't make enough either, but y'all not tipping me.
I feel that. I feel that because here's the reality. I mean, and to your point, under federal law, employers can pay like waiters and waitresses, people that work in tip-based industries, as little as $2.13 an hour. So that's obviously far, far, far below minimum wage, right? But they say that the tips bring them to baseline salary. But why is it up to us to pay your employee? Here's the thing. I'm not saying do away with tipping. There is some times and services that you may want to give a little extra, feel a little good, but the expectation that every single time you should be tipped. Again, I understand the restaurant industry. That's a little different. However, but with everything else, do I really need to tip you for making my Jamba Juice? I don't know. Do you split the tip amongst the entire staff that is on staff for the day? I'm just asking. I'm just saying. Do you know, like, because it's stuff like that. Maybe.
Based off of how the culture of tipping, that scenario that you presented, you should tip the Jamba Juice person.
Okay, why?
Because it's a service.
It's a service.
It's a service that they provided for you so you don't have to go ahead and make your own smoothie.
I know, but everything. But that means we tip for everything. Do you
Absolutely.
tip the baggers at the grocery store?
No, but you should tip them too. Jill, you should be tipped for this too. You're providing a service for people.
I mean, listen, you guys get tipped in the YouTube chat. You know that, right?
Super chat it up.
Super chat it up if y'all want to do that. But I'm just saying, like, I do think that there is a space for tipping. I understand that you want to show your appreciation. And I do think it is a shame that it takes people having to, lay down this extra money in order for you to have a livable wage or have health care or things like that. It's crazy to me.
It shouldn't be mandatory. That's it. When you get your bill from dinner, it shouldn't be 15%. Nah, it should be up to you if you want to give that person gratuity based on that person's service, because we do got some a-holes servers out here, and I'm supposed to just tip because? Nah, bump that.
Right, and then, you don't want to, and this is the thing that I find, and not all, but I've had this conversation with a lot of friends and, over the years, or people where the expectation, especially back in the day, people get blasted on social media a lot more now. So sometimes they move a little cooler than maybe they would have. But the idea that in some environments, they don't believe that Black people tip. So Black people end up over tipping because they don't want to look like or whatever. Sometimes I think it's a scam. I don't know. We'll have more on this topic, of course, and more trending topics and headlines when we come forward. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bottle full of bub, mama, I got what you need. If you need to fill the bars, I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug, if you're into getting rough, you can find me in the club. Bottle full of bub, mama, I got what you need. If you need to fill the bars, I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug, if you're into getting rough.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis with the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump will not head to trial next month in his Georgia election interference case. This comes after a judge granted motions from lawyers Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell to sever their cases from Trump and the other co-defendants indicted in the investigation. A trial date for Trump has yet to be scheduled. Vice President Kamala Harris kicks off her Fight for Our Freedom College tour. After leaving Hampton University, the VP is on her way to North Carolina A&T on Friday. The VP will also stop by Morehouse College, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the College of Southern Nevada in Las Vegas, and Northern Arizona State University sometime later. Harris will focus on gun safety, climate action, and LGBTQ equality. In celebrity birthdays, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is 53, an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. She's the first black woman to sit on the nation's highest court. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Score big on sleep and savings during Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable beds and get a $300 instant gift, good towards pillows and more.
Gotta stay fresh, ma. I don't shop with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council. LA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Deal tipping on fofos, rap 6 long slim sticking your chick. Pulling tricks, looking slick at all times when I'm flipping. Bar sipping, car dipping, Grant Wood grain gripping. Still tipping on hippin', the no hacking, blowing on that GameCube Nintendo, 5% tint, so you can't see up in my window. These don't understand me, cause I'm boss hog on candy. Top down at Maxis with a big 9 handy. Pieced up, creased up, stand dressed to impress. Big boss belt buckle under my Michelin S. Gucci shades up on my
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Tipping on fofos. That makes me want to get a grill. Did you know that they have retainer grills now? Well, it's a patent pending for it. I thought that was kind of a dope concept. You know, fix your teeth and be fashion forward at the same time. Now, before we move ahead, shout out to Forensic Accountant in the YouTube chat. He left a tip. We appreciate it here at KBLA. He said, go sip something courtesy of your man. You mean like my homeboy? Forensic, shout out to you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We love that. There's, of course, a lot of commentary going on in the chat. Let me catch you guys up on some of what's going on there. Thomas Outlaw says, tipping is also cultural. Sometimes people learn tipping rates from their parents who also influence them, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Pretty Brown Mimi says restaurants are one, but these DoorDash drivers go off if they don't like your tip. It's scary. That is facts. Aubrey Sinclair says tipping should also be based off of great service. And I think that is the biggest thing. Like, I don't mind tipping. I am one of those people that I over tip at times because we don't want the little stigma. Sometimes, and it seems kind of backwards. I will say that I have done it. I'm not saying I always do it, but sometimes, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm going to reward you for being shady and thinking that I wasn't going to tip when I was with more money. That's backwards, but, you know, sometimes we're like, it don't mean nothing. Andy?
Do we tip our nurses?
You know what? Here's the thing, and I can tell you about this. My mom was an RN for many, many years, right? And so I don't know if sometimes people try and give them money, but people do buy them things or do nice things for them. And I'm an advocate for that. Like, if someone, you don't have to, but if you believe, especially, I'm a nurse's advocate. I support them. I believe in them. I think that they are one of the most underappreciated jobs ever.
They were on the front line when the pandemic hit.
Absolutely. And if you understand the hospital process, right? Your doctor, when you're hospitalized, is not the person that is going to really be making sure day to day you are okay and cool. It is those nurses, those medical assistants, those CNAs that are in there that are making sure that your health is taken care of, that your day to day is, you know, okay, that your vitals are together. They're the ones that are going to notice if something is amiss, generally before the doctor will. They are the people that are going to be with you hand in hand and really are the biggest part of your recovery. So I'm going to say give nurses the world, give them everything. Like I said, I am the child of one. I have many family members that are involved in the medical industry, and I just can't say enough about them. So shout out to all the nurses out there. So yeah, they should be tipped. Also, now, do people? I don't know.
Also, I'm just saying they be wiping. You know what I'm saying? They be wiping stuff.
They do. They do. I mean, it's a lot there. There's a hierarchy, right? So they're your nurses. Your nurses are not really going to be the ones that are wiping stuff and cleaning you up. That's going to be the CNAs, and much love and respect to them too, because that is a hard job, and they are just as much involved in you expanding in your healthcare and growing as others. So again, there's more commentary in the chat. Thomas Outlaw also says, also, when did we start tipping on machines and non-human transactions? I mean, that's kind of, that's a great point, but that is where we are. And they brought up the pandemic because there was so much contactless interactions. It's right there on the machine. So sometimes you don't think about it. It seems easy, like put $1 in there, put 5 in there, and you keep it moving. So we have Fahima on the line from DC. We always love when she checks in. Thank you for staying up late. How are ya?
I'm okay. Well, two things. I shared an article with Andy on the history of tip wage in this country. At the end of the Civil War, restaurants and hospitals, they didn't pay formerly enslaved people a salary. They allowed them to earn money by tips from their patrons. And that's the history of, and it pretty much was an exploitation of labor, but that's the history of tip wages in the U.S. The other thing, I have a friend, I've known her for a long time, and she doesn't believe in tipping, and it's just very embarrassing. So generally, if I went out with her, and I rarely go out with her, I will just leave the tip because she doesn't believe in tipping.
See, we're the same, Fahima. See? Uh-oh, Andy.
Recently, I'm like, I should have bought stock in food deliveries. I don't want to call any of the names because I don't want to give them advertising. But there's one that I use in particular. But she was saying, when her son orders food delivery, he doesn't tip. It's not possible to not leave a tip because before you close out, you have to indicate how much of a tip you're going to use.
Oh, but see, here's the thing. They do make it like that, and they do present it so that it seems like you don't have an option, but you could zero that out and keep it moving. They put it up there like you have to, and that's how they entice people to tip or tip more maybe they intended to. But for me, with that type of stuff, because I've had situations where, have you ever had a food delivery driver take your food, like take a picture of it, and then you go outside and your food is not there, and you're like, listen, there is nobody that came unless a coyote came through and snatched it. You wanted my good Jamaican food, didn't you? Or, sometimes, and it might not even be their fault, so this may not be fair, but if you leave out an item for me, your tip goes down. It just does.
Somebody may have stolen the food, but I think that option, if you're going to give them cash. But when you think about it, the person is not going to deliver your food for free. So if you put 0 tip, how do you expect to get your food? The 0 tip is if you're going to give them a cash tip when they arrive, rather than having it added on to your total.
Oh, not here, because I never see my drivers. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I never see my drivers. What I do is sometimes I'll just automatically put in like whatever my base rate is for a tip. But sometimes I'll put in 0, and then after they drop it and my food has safely arrived, then I'll send your tip, because that's the way it should be. You have completed the service and I give it on. But I don't even, we don't have any interaction. Why do we need to? Leave it. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, prior to COVID, that's how food delivery people have just like really, it bloomed and bustled, and there's a new industry during the advent of COVID. But anyway, I just wanted to share those two things.
Hold on, Fahima. Don't go. I got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Why was it embarrassing?
Why was it embarrassing? Because she would make a scene, and I don't want to pay. This is not my responsibility, so I don't go out with her. The thing is, if you're at a nice restaurant, and part of the protocol is to tip the people that are providing your food, then that's what you do.
Is it protocol or is it an option?
No, it's a protocol. Because she will sit there and ask, well, I don't want to tip. Why is this? And so instead of me going through this nonsense, and I rarely go out with her, I'll just pay the tip because it's ignorant.
Listen. I don't want that jacket. So I understand, Fahima. I understand. Thank you for calling in. I will check out the article Andy forwarded to me. Obviously, I can't read it and take in its full scope at the moment, but I will check it out. And, this is a great topic. We can circle back to it later. Again, there's some more comments in the chat. Thomas Outlaw says, I visited the central London area last year and I had to learn how to tip. A lot of their services were already factored in. I mean, there are a lot of places where they put that, convenience charge automatically on there. And a lot of times it's much higher than the 18% or the 15%. They're starting to hit you in the head with a 25% charge off rip. And so, from there, where do you go? Forensic accountant said, I should donate more to KBLA since y'all announced a programming change that warmed this financial crime professional's heart. Well, I'm not sure what it is, but we're rocking. So, thank you for being proud and loving us. When we come forward, we'll have more comments, more trending topics and headlines, more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward. 1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Hey Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast, too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And we're talking tipping. Do you still do it? Do you feel forced to do it at this point? Because everywhere you go, especially because a lot of people are using like automated tipping, Stripe, Square, whatever, to process these things. It's just automatically included in there for you to do. and not a little amount either. So is it still a thing? And then here's the thing too. I remember 15% was standard, and of course you gotta, times move on, inflation, and now I think 18% is the standard. But really, is it 20? Like 18 is the bare minimum, and people look at you a little crazy if you leave that. So we will have to see. Prester John says, on the flip side, there's a thing called tip baiting, which is quite foul to service workers and quite common. What is tip baiting, Prester John? Is that when you have them running around doing a lot of stuff, implying that you're going to leave them a lot and don't? You got to explain it to me. Forensic Accountant says that he would like to hear some 8-Ball and MJG since you played a little Slim Thug. Urban Spinster is just commenting that Slim Thug is fine. He is an attractive man, isn't he? And she shouted out when he was on College Hill. Shout out to College Hill. The earlier the earlier seasons of it, I was a part of putting that show, not in production, but on the network side. And currently, the most recent ones, one of my good friends, maybe she'll come on the show, is an executive producer for that. And so, we're supporting the College Hills here. Wow, these comments are going. Urban Spencer also mentioned that she goes to a Black-owned salon and tries to support them as much as possible. She's an every 2-week girl, and she refers. So, she tips on top of that. I mean, I think referrals are a form of tipping as well, because she says she doesn't. Oh, she doesn't tip because she refers. Okay. Well, I'm not mad at that, I mean, listen, the way some of these stylist prices are set up, they include that in there anyway, so... Uh-oh. Yes, sir.
Man, Prester John, he said don't go to dinner if you don't have tip money. Trifling. What's trifling about it, though? They already get a base salary, a base check. If your service is impeccable, then yeah, I'd be compelled to tip you. But don't force me to tip. I think that's the issue that I have. Don't force me. Give me the option to. And I'll probably be more willing to tip you and give you a lot.
I mean, I believe in tipping for great service. I do tip for mediocre service, unfortunately, because I feel like when I say that, I mean, here's the thing. With some things, I think it is just standard operating procedure. You may not get a great tip, but I incorporate that there's going to be a tip into the thing. So it's just a part of it. But as we pointed out, tipping is not about great service anymore. It's almost like it's a gratuity. It's a line item on your receipt. Andy, you're looking like you're disgusted in the idea of that.
I'm not a fan of tipping. I just hate it when people give excuses. Oh, well, I don't get paid enough. Like I said, I don't get paid enough, but y'all not tipping me. You feel me? You got your security guard in the hood risking his or her life. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not tipping the security guard.
And I think that is very fair, like we talked about. And Urban Spencer mentioned that nurses are not supposed to take gifts or money. You are correct. They are not supposed to. But I know that when I had a loved one that was in ICU at a hospital, when they were discharged, I went and took the entire nursing staff in ICU coffee and donuts and bagels and a card. And for a couple of nurses that I felt went above and beyond the call of duty. And again, this is because, like I said, I have an appreciation for nurses and what they do. Just, seeing my mom be that person and her friends and so forth. And I also, nothing big. I gave them some Starbucks gift cards to go along with it. But, I'm technically, maybe they weren't supposed to, but they did. Nobody said anything and it was fine. And I felt like it was the right thing to do because I know how hard my mom was an ICU nurse. So I know how hard they work. I know that it is a stressful job. I know they deal with a lot. Families are often really high strung if you're dealing with someone that is in the intensive care unit. I mean, the name itself implies that it's a lot going on with that. So again, I just respect the medical profession, especially the nurses, because I think that they are really the backbone and the unsung hero when we're talking about all of that. So, shout out to that. Let's see. The chat moved fast. I was going to read something and it's gone. I missed it. Well, there's a lot of conversation there. So if you are online, please check it out because there is a booming community in there. Terry says, I have dated some nurses. Well, I take it you enjoyed the experience, Terry. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate you as always. Forensic Accountant was listing out what shows, some of the newer shows, in addition to RSVP with Jill Munroe, that he appreciates, or some of the shows that he loves on here. They're shouting out Dominique Duprima always, of course, Tavis, and I saw a mention of the cryptocurrency show that comes on. He says he's all up and down the comments and the chats wanting participating in that. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody for locking in to all of the hosts and shows on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, tipping is important. However, we just want a little clarity around what qualifies as mandatory and what is, hey, I want to show you a real and true appreciation because you went above and beyond, and I want to make sure that you understand that I appreciate you going above and beyond for me. I think, that's probably what it is when it comes down to it. Like you said, a lot of people are getting rewarded for mid-level, so to speak, service. So listen, we here in California have always been known for being healthy. Florida's the sunshine state. We are the sunny state. At least we were until this year. This winter kind of has me confused where I live. But when we come forward, I will give you the full details about a popular candy that is this close to being banned in California. And it is a favorite. And we're going to get into why it potentially could be banned. And would you miss it? Or do you care? And is this something that you don't want to see removed from the mix? Because there are a lot of things with chemicals that people are like, I'll take my chances. I don't really use that much of it. We'll be all right. So this might be one of them for you. We'll get into that. Of course, we'll also get into later in the hour what to watch. We'll talk about where Sexy Red went #1 and about the first thing that she said a guy did for her that captured her heart. You're really going to want to hear this. And we're going to discuss Bow Wow, what he says that he missed out on being a child star and what he sometimes wishes that, he could go back a little bit. And we'll talk about a new behind-the-scenes look at one of your favorite reality TV show families. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Hour 3 is on the way.
What it do is power wow, I'm the people's champ. My chain light up like a lamp, cause now I'm back with the camp. I'm crawling similar to an ant, cause I'm low to the earth. People's feelings get hurt when they figure out what I'm worth. I got 84s poking out at the club, I'm showing out. I'm a player, ain't no doubt. Wanna know what I'm about? Biggest diamonds off in my mouth, princess cuss all in my chain. Wood